Welcome back to It's Never Too Late. This is a podcast, also a video podcast for those of you on YouTube, all about reinventing yourself after maybe about 50 plus. It's never too late to create the life that you love. Many times that includes moving. Your life has changed. Maybe you're an empty nester. Maybe you've retired from your job. Maybe you're very close to retirement and you're thinking about moving into a 55 plus community. 55 plus communities. Who are the people that just thrive in a community like this? Who are the people that are just miserable? I'm going to help you figure that out. I'm Karen, often called I Go by Karen on social media. Check me out on Instagram and TikTok if you're interested. I've also been a real estate broker for over 20 years. I've not only been in many of these communities, guess what? I'm living in one right now, going on 8 years. So I know a little something about this. And I've realized there are really 5 kinds of people that love a 55 plus community. There are also equally 5 kinds of people that just end up miserable here. If you're thinking of moving into one of these communities, you might want to figure out, which category are you? Let's dive in. Let's start with the negative first so we end on a good note. What are the characteristics of the 5 people that would just be miserable in a 55 plus? The number one thing that comes to mind are people that dislike HOAs with a vengeance. Now, as I said, I've been in real estate for over 20 years, and I can easily say people kind of fall in one of 3 camps. One, they love HOAs, love them. They want to serve on the board. They are always in the neighborhood looking for violations. They just live and breathe it. I'd say that's probably the smallest group, but they love it. The second group are people who respect the HOA. They know why they're there. They don't enjoy getting letters because their rocks were out of alignment in their front yard, but they respect it and they follow the rules for the most part. The third group of people are people who very strongly have an opinion, and that is one that they cannot stand an HOA. They don't want to be told what to do with their own property. They don't want to be told they can't have their RV in their driveway. It's their RV after all, and it's their driveway. They want to be able to park a car on the street overnight. They want to be able to leave their garbage cans out for an extra day. You know where I'm going with that. More often than not, you probably fall into one of those 3 categories. So people who dislike HOAs and kind of what they stand for could very well be miserable in a 55 plus community. Most 55 plus communities, and I'm talking more of like the active adult communities as they used to be called more frequently, they have single family homes, they have condos, they have paired homes. They will have an HOA. I have not run into one without an HOA yet. So if that kind of stuff drives you crazy, I might steer clear. Because you also have to remember you have a lot of people with more time on their hands than they've ever had living there. And some of them really get into the rule following. So if you leave your trash cans out for an extra couple of days, they'll turn you in. So it may not just be the HOA coming after you. It may be your neighbor. So keep that in mind. If HOAs are not your thing, steer clear of a 55 plus community. Number 2, if you're just not really social, and I hesitate to say this because a lot of introverts are perfectly happy in a 55 plus community. But let's just say, I heard from a lot of people online on social media who say this, I don't want to be around people. I am living for retirement. I just want to be around my pets, my animals. I want to visit maybe my kids. I'd be happy being out in the middle of a forest and never seeing another human being as long as I live. Yeah, a 55 plus community might not be for you because typically these communities are designed with a social aspect in mind. I say this, but there is one caveat that I want to keep in mind here. I have seen many people move to these neighborhoods as a couple. Maybe they're married, maybe they're not, but one of them fits that description. The other one does not, and they're quite happy as a couple. They've worked all that out. But the one that doesn't enjoy that aspect is moving into the 55 plus community for the other person because they know that other person thrives in that kind of atmosphere. They make an agreement that the one who is not super social will not be going to all of these events, will not participate in the clubs, will not know all the neighbors' names on the street. And the one who loves that is okay with that. So you want to keep that in mind because I have also seen the reverse where they move here and then the person who is pretty social wants the spouse, the partner, to come with her or come with him to these events, to a party. And that person's like, no, I don't want to. I'm miserable. So you can't really change someone. I guess we all probably know that at this point. That's the caveat. That's the caveat. I have seen it work where one loves it and one does not. They've come to their own personal agreement with that. What's the third type of person that does not like this kind of neighborhood? I don't know how to say this without sounding rude, but I'll just say it. These people really have an aversion to clicks. I'm having a hard time describing this, but many times I have gone to events where I've walked in by myself for whatever reason, and I wanted to go to a table and sit down. There are chairs that are pushed up on the table like they're saved. I've been in some where people have put a whole blanket over a table, and I'll ask if I can sit there. They'll say, oh, sorry, we've saved this for our friends. And they are friends with people who they do everything together all day, every day, but they don't want to meet new people. They will go to these events, which are kind of centered around meeting new people. It happens a lot. I'm not saying every table in that room is going to be like that. But I know when I initially did that and I went to the first table and was turned away, went to the second table and I was turned away, I just wanted to turn around and leave. I'm very glad I didn't because I stayed and went to the third table and met some great people. I've also sat at a table by myself. If you really think this is so high schoolish, I don't want to be around this, this may not be for you. I tell people you have to have patience to find your own people because not every person in a 55 plus neighborhood is like that. Trust me. But if you get that exposure initially and you keep encountering it, it can really bring you down. It's there. It's there. The rare people who say, oh, that's not my experience in my neighborhood, when you really press them, they're part of a clique. They're part of that. They're not meeting new people. So keep that in mind. If that just is going to bug you, because for a while, I got to tell you, it bugged me. I thought, how old am I? I thought I was past this. I just sat there and went, I know there are some nice people here. I know there are people who want to meet people. And there were, and there are people like that. You just sometimes have to dig through and be patient and find them. If that's going to drive you nuts that they even exist, it's probably not a good fit for you. What's the fourth type of person who might not be happy in a 55 plus neighborhood? You know the type, and you may be this. So look in the mirror if this is you. You want to know and account for every penny that you are paying into your HOA or into a club. Many times the 55 plus communities have people pay, obviously, into an HOA, as I mentioned earlier. They also many times will have you pay a social fee. They call it different things. That's to use maybe the clubhouse, the pickleball courts, the pool. It depends, on what the amenities are. Maybe because they kind of organize clubs for you. They organize events for you. So you're paying a fee for that. Now, if you're the type of person who wants to know where that money is going to and gets upset because you're paying for pickleball courts that you don't use, or perhaps you're paying for a pool and you never use the pool, this may not be the right environment for you. There are plenty of things I pay for that I will never use, but I understand it's part of the entire community. It's kind of a lifestyle, okay? My husband plays pickleball. I don't play pickleball, but that's okay. He gets the benefit from it. Absolutely. We used to go to the pool quite a bit. We're going to try to keep doing that a little bit more, but we haven't in a long time. But we don't sit back and say, we're paying for this pool, and I bet we're paying 10% of our club fees for that, and we don't use it. That drives us crazy. That's not us. But I know friends like that, and it's driving them nuts. Or maybe they're unhappy with the landscaping in the community, or maybe they're unhappy with the entrance, and it gets them really riled up. This may not be the right neighborhood for you because it's not worth the stress. It really isn't. So that's the fourth category. Number 5, if you are the type of person who doesn't want to be around people in your age category only, because that's really what happens in a 55 plus community. Many times you can have an adult child living with you for an extended period of time. Many times you can't, but you might have people's kids and grandkids come and visit, but they're visiting. They don't live there. I often hear from people saying, this sounds like a nightmare to have to live with people in my age range. They want to be around families. They want to hear kids laughing or playing or riding bikes in the street. If you're going to miss that, this may not be the community for you at all. I've talked about it a lot. There are pros and cons with being around people your age, for sure. I'll probably talk about the positives here in a minute, but the negatives could be, yeah, you talk a lot about illnesses, unfortunately. You talk a lot about Medicare. You talk a lot about Social Security. You can kind of be brought down because that's all you're talking about, right? There are some big positives as well. Many times people don't want to be around only their age group in their neighborhood all of the time. If that sounds like you, this may not be the right neighborhood for you. You could very well be miserable. Let's flip that over. What are the 5 type of people that I have seen just thrive in a 55 plus neighborhood? Obviously, the first kind are very social people. You know the type I'm talking about. They love to attend everything. They want to go to every party. They want to be part of almost every club. They volunteer. They are there. They are present and they want to meet people. They thrive in this atmosphere. Perhaps they have been living in a neighborhood where they didn't meet their neighbors any longer. Maybe they have become empty nesters. Maybe they no longer work. Those are the 2 areas where most people meet people at work or through their kids. That's gone now. They don't really know their neighbors or they have nothing in common with their neighbors. They move to this type of neighborhood because they want things to do and they don't want to have to drive far to them. Here, they could go to a pool party for Memorial Day. They could join a bridge club or they could learn how to play bridge because there's usually places in the community that will teach you bridge or mahjong, whatever it might be. They want to go to happy hour. They want to be part of a cooking club. They want to be part of a political club. There's so many different clubs. They want to learn how to play pickleball and then they become part of the pickleball team and they have so much fun because they're very social. I'm not saying you have to be the life of the party. As I said earlier, there are plenty of introverts here because not everyone is the life of the party, but they love it. They know their limits. They don't join every single thing out there possible. Maybe they join 2 or 3 things, a book club or whatever, and they love it because they are interacting with people. They're not just sitting at home watching TV. That sounds like you could very well thrive in this kind of community. What's the number 2 type of person that I see thriving in this community? People who are volunteers, people who like to lead. These are great people in these communities because they are always in demand. Many times people will move into the community like this and say, I'm done volunteering. I'm done being in charge. So we always need people who are willing to do that. If that's a strength of yours and you enjoy it, there'll be plenty of things for you to do here. There's always a club you could create on your own. There's always one you could organize. It's a great way to meet people as well. Obviously, most of the time, this is volunteer only. You don't get paid to do this. So you have to really enjoy that. And if that's your personality, this could be the place for you. The third type of person that really, really loves it here are people who want to learn new things. Maybe they're at this phase of their life and they're thinking, I've never had time to learn to paint. I've always thought I would like to learn to paint. Usually in a community like this, there are lessons. There's an art community. There's art classes. There's art displays. There's all sorts of things. I'm just using that as an example. But you could learn to paint. A cigar club here was just formed recently, and there are people going to it that don't smoke cigars, but they've always wanted to learn about it. They just haven't had time. Maybe you want to learn to play golf. You want to learn to play pickleball. You haven't had the time, but you have it now. There are so many opportunities for that in a 55 plus community. The fourth type of person that really does well in a community like this is that they love the sense of community. They love knowing their neighbors. They love being on a golf cart, driving around. Not all of them have golf carts. You always are waving at people. Oh, yeah, there's Joe and Jan. They just went on a trip to see their grandkids in Oklahoma or wherever it might be. You know each other. Many times that can be a negative for people, as I kind of mentioned, where people kind of know your business, but it's a huge positive as well. I hear that from so many people that maybe their spouse became ill and people rallied around them and supported them. Their old neighborhood, they may never have known that the spouse was ill. I know groups of people who celebrate birthdays every month. They go out to lunch. If they had stayed in their old neighborhood, no one might have known it was their birthday. That kind of thing. They love the sense of community. They love being involved with each other's lives, and they thrive in a neighborhood like this. What's the last, the number 5 type of person that I think loves being in a 55 plus neighborhood? They love being around people their own age. Now, I mentioned earlier how that could be a negative to many people. For so many people, it's a positive. For me personally, when we first moved here, I kind of loved it. It was like, oh, this is so quiet here. Talked about Halloween, going to an adult only party on Halloween. I was coming from a neighborhood where we handed out candy big time. We had hundreds of kids coming through, which was a lot of fun. But that was in the past. Been there, done that. We would never have gone to an adult only Halloween party on a weekday, on a Tuesday, because of work, because of other things that just didn't happen. But here, oh, well, so Halloween's on a Tuesday, let's have a party. So having that type of atmosphere with people who are in your own age bracket, it's kind of fun. Maybe they've already raised their kids. They kind of have that in common. Maybe they don't have kids. I do want to talk about that because I know plenty of people who moved to the 55 plus community that don't have kids, don't have extended family. The neighborhood becomes their family. That's what they love about it. They have this sense of family in a community. It's kind of like the family are the friends that you have made. It totally rings true here. They love being around people who kind of have experienced the same things. They maybe have the same taste in music because they grew up with the same kinds of music. They have a history kind of shared because we've all been through similar things that you just wouldn't have in common with someone who's 25. If you were in a neighborhood full of 25-year-olds, it may not be the same because you don't all have the same life experiences. I hope that makes sense. Overall, that's kind of a down and dirty, but those are the people that I think would be miserable in a community like this. And those are the people that I think would thrive in a community like this. If you have any questions, please write them below in the comments, hit subscribe. I often talk about 55 plus communities, and I often talk about things for people that are over 50. Again, thanks so much for listening or watching if you're on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button if you so desire on YouTube, or follow me on the podcast if you're listening to this. I'd love to have you. It's never too late to create the life that you love.